Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I'm sure we could have done better. We would be presumptuous to say that we did everything perfectly.
Yeah, because we didn't. Let's be real. We didn't do... Nobody did anything perfectly. There's no playbook for this. There isn't. There's no playbook for COVID-19. But we're in it long enough, and we've seen some of the things that other countries did before it really arrived on our shores in any force, that we could have done things better. Everybody's got blame. From the president to the likes of Fauci to the governors and to individuals, us. All of us have done things that maybe we shouldn't have done. Chad, what I love is you're a sheeple. That's all you are. You're buying into the hysteria. Look, I understand what the numbers are. I study this. I see it. I get it. I was a big proponent of, hey, you know what? Let's do a lot of what Sweden's doing. And Sweden has admitted we made mistakes, but at the end of the day, everybody's still going to end up kind of where we're going to end up. We didn't want to decimate our economy. Now, there hasn't been too much benefit, but there hasn't been a destruction like in some places. And the problem with a place like Sweden is if everybody else has stopped doing the things that they were doing and you try to continue along, understanding that you need those countries who are also your trading partners to do their thing for you to go on. We could have done better. We could have. But like everything else in life, right, when your kids mess up, when you mess up, it's what do you do from here? What do you do at this point? I see too many governors who are reactionary and not forward thinking. I see too many politicians who've turned this thing into a bipartisan battle. I see too many people out there who've made this thing political. I get it every day. You wear a mask at work? It's because you're a wimp? I'm like, no, because they asked me to. Well, that's because you're buying into you're sheeple. That's what one guy kept telling me yesterday. You're an idiot. And I'm like, okay. I mean, you can't reason with a person like that. And I don't really read too much into, the social media aspect, but I go on there and I see the battles. First of all, let's just say this. There's nothing wrong with respect for our fellow human beings. We've lost the plot because we've turned this into politics. But we've also turned our life into politics, meaning everything is politics. It's funny because the people on the right laugh about, you identify as a woman or but everybody identifies as something nowadays and everything is personal. So while somebody over here may be transgender and they identify as a woman or a man and you think it's weird and wacky and crazy and all this stuff and you identify as this. I'm a patriot. I'm a this. I'm a that. And if you dare challenge me, I feel like you're attacking me. It's all the same. We've made wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, whether you're on the right or left, it's about respect. I'm on neither. Because you're milk toast. That's when one person said to me, they texted me, you're milk toast. You need to choose a side. Why do I need to choose a side? On a mask? I won't wear a mask inside my house or in my car if I'm out for a walk. Doing things that, you should be doing. Your business asks you to wear a mask inside when you're in common areas with people. You do it out of respect. If a business asks you to do it out of respect for everybody else in the business. By the way, there's also some CYAing. Because with all of this going on, you know what I'm seeing a lot of? And I don't know about you, producer Phil. Let me pick your brain for a second. Do you see commercials now for COVID-19 lawsuits?
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm seeing a ton already here. CYAing. Some businesses like, we better do everything we can to say we tried to put stuff in place. Stop making everything personal and stop making everything political. all of us want to get through this so we can get back to living our lives the way we were before. Because for some people, it'll be, okay, well, I got to get back to it. For other people, it's, I got to rebuild. But my goodness me, it is crazy. This little girl has summed up everything that I think most people feel, right? And she's knocked it out of the park. And I want you guys to understand, she's 4 years old. And the frustration in her voice is what most of us feel.
Anyway, because of their shutdown, the ice cream truck is shut down, and the water truck place is shut down, which is my favorite part because it has my favorite one. Yeah, it has the gumball one where there's gunballs and there's like blues, and now they have to shut all the way down, and we can't go anywhere. Not even McDonald's, which is my favorite restaurant.
She's upset. She's pissed. I think a lot of us are. It's all starting to show. I said there's a breaking point. Some people have gotten there. Others, not quite. But it's coming for a lot of people. But we've got to realize we are in this thing together. We may not be together, but we're in it together. Like, that's just the reality. So we can figure it out or we can fight about it. I said yesterday to somebody, yeah, we're in this together, but we're not together in this. And he's like, well, what does that mean? I said, well, it's like we're all on a sinking ship, and we can either figure out how we get onto the life rafts and try to get to safety, or we can argue amongst ourselves why the ship sinks and we go down with it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. And then you've got the other side of stuff. You've heard that little girl. She's upset. McDonald's her favorite restaurant. Everything's closed. Life is, she's pissed. And rightly so. Then you have the school side of stuff. I've heard from more parents because it's getting closer. What are we going to do? Is there going to be school? Is there not going to be school? I don't know. I was talking to producer Anthony before the show today, because Jack goes home this weekend. It bums me out because this is what it's done in my life. I've been fortunate enough to have him for longer stretches in the middle of a school year. And right now, and at the same time, I know that I'm also going to drop him off on Sunday, and I'm probably not going to see him again until September. Can't go out there. And he's not going to come back here because he's ready to start school of some sort for a while. And it's frustrating. To open, not to open. What to do, what not to do. Trump, of course, out and about doing his thing.
Children, in many cases, the immune system is so powerful, so strong. But the young and the healthy to safely return to work and to school. We have to open our schools. Open our schools. Stop this nonsense. We open our schools. Germany, Norway, so many countries right now, the schools are open and they're doing just fine, and they're opening in the fall.
And there's something to that. You look at some of the places around the globe where they've taken some measures with kids, and some who've done not, just said, hey, look, we're going to let them be kids. But it's not just about the kids, too. It's also the teachers. Some teachers are worried, rightly so. I understand that. But it doesn't mean we can't come to some sort of real understanding of because even if you say open your schools today and the teachers agree, you may have a lot of parents who are in situations where they feel uncomfortable sending their children to school at this moment in time for whatever reason, health reason, or maybe like a lot of people I talk to, they're not really worried about whether or not their kid would get this and die. The fact is they know that is such a minute, just tiny possibility. And I don't mean it's 1%. I mean the difference between this and getting hit by lightning, a better chance of getting hit by lightning and dying from this. But the start-stop. Kids, they need structure. And if you go and you start and you stop, and then you go and you start and you stop, that is going to throw things just absolutely out of whack for children.
We should try our best with ample consideration for the safety of the students and their parents. We should try, if we possibly can, to keep the schools open.
Yeah. for not just the education side. The education side is huge, and we need to do that. But also the mental aspect, the physical aspect of being around their friends and not just on the internet with one or two of them interacting. I've seen what it's done to these kids. Again, Jack he's much more anxious. He's much more he is far more emotional because he just doesn't have the outlet. He used to play sports every day. He used to be with his friends a lot. He used to do a lot of different things. And yeah, they like playing Fortnite, but that only goes so far. So I'm about, let's figure this stuff out, but we got to stop fighting. Again, we're in this together. All right. So this is what it is. Stop fighting over stupid things. Stop pretending that everything is deep state and this, that, and the other. At this point in time, it's real. And let's just face the facts that right now we've got a hole in the ship. We better figure out how we plug that hole in a real way. But arguing with each other over the dumbest things doesn't move us forward. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Friday program. Huh? I'm excited. Weekend. Had a long week. All 3 days of it. I'm into the 3-day thing. I could do this. This could be good. Now, I miss it. Like people say, because I have a tough time unwinding, and this last couple, this last week, because Jack was here, it was fun. But yeah, I could see, I do. After about 4 days, I start to get a little squirrely. Especially when there's nothing to do. So you can't go see movies. I can't go work out. It's 100 and God knows what. It's going to be 119 or 18 on Sunday here. So, what do you do? I'm going to not go outside, take a walk at 3 a.m. So after a while, you're like, I'm over Netflixing. It's time to figure something out. And I love my lizards, but they don't want me to hang out with them all day. They're like, dude, why are you here? You've fed us everything you need to. You can leave. Gabby.com/Benson. What is it, you ask? I'll tell you what it is. It's the best. It's the best way to figure out if you are paying too much for your homeowner's insurance and car insurance. Simple and easy. 2 minutes. It's all it takes. You're going to get apples to apples comparison on both of those. And it's just, you just link your information and they're going to give you a comparison with 40 of the biggest insurers around. Nationwide, Travelers, companies like that, on the exact same coverage you have. Maybe you're paying too much. Maybe you're paying exactly what you're supposed to be paying. I was paying about $1,000 more for my car insurance. I'm not doing that right now. They save me money. Average Gabby customer saves $825. Again, 2 minutes, simple, easy. Check it out for yourself. Average customer for Gabby saves $825 a year. That could be you. Go to Gabby.com/Benson, GABI.com/Benson. Find out how much you can save on car and homeowners insurance. Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Rent free.
You can pick up McDonald's in the drive-thru.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can. You can go in the drive-thru, but you can't go on the playground.
Just really frustrating. If you go through the drive-thru, it's just boring. And if you're inside playing on the playground, it wouldn't be boring. And now they have to shut down. And now that everything in this town has to shut all the way down. It's just not fair because everything that is fun also has to be shut down. And the only thing that is open is nothing.
This little 4-year-old girl's a little pissed. A little pissed about everything being shut down. Ice Cream Man, shut down. Water parks, shut down. McDonald's, her favorite restaurant, shut down. And don't tell me about the drive-thru, because that ain't fun. She wins. She's pissed. Oh, my Lord. And everything that's open is nothing. She's saying what we all want to say. Nothing open. Nothing to do. Nothing. Isn't that frustrating? God, it's so frustrating. I can't remember the last time. I haven't eaten in a restaurant in probably 5 months. And I haven't seen a movie. I think I saw one movie this year. And that used to be my go-to thing. That used to be like my yeah, we're all frustrated. But she summed it up perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. You're the best. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program as well. Today's Friday. The craziness so the kids have the TikTok, and I always want to make sure Jack's not doing anything weird. I want to go in there and see. So I got a TikTok. I put one stupid thing up there, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do this or not. But I'm like, I really don't want to because the Chinese coming in and doing, and I'm not talking about the average person. I'm talking about the Chinese Communist Party. And will it be banned? Won't it be banned? What's going to happen here in America? Other countries are banning it.
TikTok is one of the most popular apps on the App Store, says Engadget's Carissa Bell.
It's incredibly popular, and especially right now during this COVID crisis when especially so many young people are stuck at home and they're cut off from their normal lives. It's become even more popular than it was.
This week, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo floating the idea of potentially banning the app over its parent company's ties to the Chinese government. Comes after India banned TikTok in its country this month. Bell says doing the same in the U.S. would have a big impact on creators.
That would be massive ramifications for TikTok as a company and also, all the users who depend on this app.
But as for how seriously to take the potential TikTok ban,
I would be surprised if they were able to actually follow through on that.
Should they or shouldn't they? I don't like it. I don't like the fact that the Chinese have, and they can tell us all they want, but how much do you really, really believe that they're not spying, getting data, information? I don't believe it at all. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not taking the Communist Party's, truth-telling as it's actually truth. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A new study published by the National Academy of Sciences says people who are so-called silent spreaders could be responsible for about half of all coronavirus cases.
And this makes control of COVID-19 particularly challenging. With COVID-19, people are infectious before any symptoms. So most people who are transmitting the virus are doing so inadvertently without even realizing that they are sick.
What is it like? Was it last week? They call them virus chimneys. So that one person, so you may have 10 people that are with the virus. So they've got the virus. Some are really sick. Others are asymptomatic. But out of those, one may be a spreader, a super spreader. And it's crazy. It's like we're every day we're finding out something new. And that's the thing. And then we get juxtaposing positions on just about everything. Schools are safe. Schools aren't safe. Food, you can catch it, but you really can't catch it. You can go here, but you can't go here. This is okay. That's not okay. I don't, that's why people get frustrated. They don't know. People want, and look, as human beings, so you're a human, I'm a human, we're all a human. We want to put the puzzle together. And so it drives us crazy that we can't put the puzzle together, even the pieces where we may not be able to finish the puzzle, but we know what the puzzle is. You can go, all right, that's the Eiffel Tower. I'm missing some pieces. We may not get all of the pieces, but I know exactly what it is. And there you go. Problem, somewhat solved. Doesn't work that way with this. And that's frustrating for a lot of us. And that's where I look at stuff like, well, one day it's fine with a mask. Next day it's not fine. One day the heat can kill it the next day. Well, it's UV rays, not just the heat. And then the next day it's like, doesn't matter where you are. And the next day it's 6 feet. Then it's 12 feet. And that frustrates everybody. That's normal. That's not living in a world of extremes. It's just, you sit there and you go, ugh. Hey, is there any way you could be tall and short at the same time? I'd like you to be fat, but also really thin. And I want you to have a Russian accent, but sound American.
Just today, 2 people at an event for Vice President Mike Pence tested positive for coronavirus and couldn't be admitted to the event, even though they showed no symptoms at all. This new study points out that those so-called silent spreaders are infecting more people than many of us think.
You may say you're fine. You may say you're low risk. You know what? You might get it, not know it, go back to work thinking you're fine, never have any symptoms. You could give it to people you work with who could get very sick or die.
That danger of silent, unknown transmission of coronavirus is coming into greater focus.
And one of the big things is majority of people, many of you listening, could be even me. You may have it. You may be asymptomatic. You may not know it. You're not getting tested every moment. And remember, that test thing is only as good as that moment in time. The minute you leave a testing area, even if you go home, you could potentially contract it by the time that you get that phone call. Unless you get tested in your car, drive straight home, go straight into your house, and don't leave. But if you don't find out for a week and you go out and you do all the things that you have to do, I got to go grocery shopping, I got to stop by work and pick this up, I've got to go here, there, there's a chance that you could contract it. So you get this thing that says, well, I'm negative, but by now you could be positive.
The silent spreaders are mostly people who are going through those few days just before symptoms show themselves or who are completely asymptomatic. Younger, seemingly healthy people are disproportionately responsible for silent transmissions. Given this new study, how do we combat silent spreading?
First thing is distance. Second thing is if you do have to go out, try to physically separate yourself from others. Try to avoid those crowded indoor spaces and wear a mask.
And experts say this new information on silent transmission does not mean we should panic when we venture out.
No. And that's, man, some people are, they do. And you know, like when we talk about the mask, part of it is also putting some other people at ease. Right? It's also, there are people out there, you don't know what their situation is. You know, these people are yelling at me with the mask and stuff like that. And then when I talked about the fact that, well, you know what? Hey, I've got my son to worry about. Not so much that he would get sick and die, but because when he goes home this weekend, he'll eventually in the next week or so be around his aunt. And if anything was to happen where she got the coronavirus, having a double lung transplant, and she died, well, that's a different story. You don't know the person next to your story. You don't know it. It's just about respect. That's it. No, it's not. It's about freedom. Shut up. My goodness. It's crazy. It is. You can't have, I've realized in this day and age that you can't have true conversations with people. If you have 10 people, you may be able to have one person where you have a conversation. This is the way I've always looked at debates or whatever you want to call it. The worst case scenario is we part on, good terms, hopefully, unless you get insane. Because I won't. I don't, if we're going to have a conversation about an issue. But for me, I look at, well, maybe I'm going to learn something new. Maybe there's something I'm missing that I don't know about. Maybe there is data that he or she has that I've not seen and give me a new perspective. So worst case scenario, even if that data isn't all it is, at least I can see it from somebody else's perspective, which to me say, hey, I got a little bit of growth. Fantastic. People aren't like that. Everything's personal now. Everything is personal. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Trump. Yesterday, SCOTUS, the whole thing with the tax returns. Loss for Congress, win for New York. And, he's stoked.
This is another hoax. This is purely political. I win at the federal level, and we won very decisively, and so they send it into New York. And you know what's going on in New York. Everyone's leaving. It's turned out to be a hellhole, and they better do something about it because people are leaving New York. But this is a political witch hunt. It just continues. It's been from before I got here, when Obama and Biden and everybody else was spying on my campaign illegally.
Look, I have, you watched Pelosi and them yesterday, and it is, Adam Schiff and them, it is. The disdain that they have for him is so great that they can't even pretend to hide it. And the frustration level, again, we touched on it yesterday of in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a growing number of people that are losing their jobs, their livelihoods, soon to be their homes. We're getting ready for a massive tsunami of foreclosures. I mean, huge. In the middle of all of this, you guys are back at something else. And it is frustrating. It is. And it's not going to end. It is not going to end anytime soon. Do I think it is what some people think it is? This is just going to make you laugh. This is Lou Dobbs yesterday.
Let's talk about the bureaucracy. The deep state extends, obviously, to the Supreme Court.
I don't get into that. But I do get into the ridiculousness of the way they go about doing things and the want. Like, I wish, as much as people, somebody said to me the other day, I wish Trump fought as hard on the coronavirus as he does on a lot of the other stuff. And I said, oh yeah, I think a lot of people wish that. I said, I also wish those people that fought as hard against Trump fight as hard for their constituents and do the best they can also with the coronavirus battle. But they're those two monsters that they're getting eaten up inside by this fester of politics and hatred for one another, that they're willing to destroy everything in their life just to get each other. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Speaking of anti-maskers.
You're going to work on my teeth, not my nose. I don't wear a mask getting my teeth cleaned.
But it's about the safety of all of us.
Fine, I'll cover my mouth. Can I go be seated now?
No, because you're not filling out the forms or letting us take your temperature. It's about protecting our
You can't take my temperature. That's against the law.
All right, well, I can't.
You're not an MD. I have a right to sue you for harassing me, the manager, and this entire company, Smile, whatever you call it, dental. Okay. So does he want that to happen? I've waited long enough for my teeth to be cleaned, okay? Let's get this done, okay?
Wait. You're not an MD. I don't know about you guys. I've been to the doctors on numerous occasions in my life. Never once can I remember, outside of being a child, has a doctor taken my temperature. It's usually a CNA, the front desk person. I mean, you're not an MD. You need a license to do that. All right? Do you understand? But that's the stuff right there. We're in this together, but we're not together in this. Just remember that. We're in this. The ship is sinking. We've struck the iceberg. There may be a chance for us to fix it. And we're all on the same ship, and we're in this together. But right now, we're not together in this. We're fighting each other. We're arguing amongst each other. The ship is sinking, taking on more water. We're arguing to the point where we're not even thinking about getting on life rafts or fixing it. We're just going to go down with the ship. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. That there, kids, is your Twitter and your Instagram as well. Purple mattress, baby. Slept so well last night. I went to bed about 9:15 and I don't even remember what I was out. It was just awesome. It was incredible. Jack gave me a hug. I'm like, and out. Boom. Thank you, Purple Mattress. So you look at technology. It's improved so many things, but sleep, that's not really improved sleep. They've tried some stuff, and outside of going up and down, there's not been a ton. That's where Purple comes in. Said, hey, you deserve better. We all deserve better. And they evolved the way we sleep. The Purple Grid, patented comfort technology, instantly adapts to your body. So the natural shape of who you are, the way you sleep, your style, and it is for every body, no matter how you sleep. 2,800 open air channels. What's that do? Temperature neutral gel inside there. You're not going to sleep too hot, not going to sleep too cold. Soft where you need it, firm where you need it. And you will sleep easy. Oh my goodness. And I feel supercharged and so much better. I sleep deeper than I've ever slept. Now is your chance. Take advantage of what they're doing. What are they giving you? 100-night trial. Risk-free, free shipping and returns. It is the next evolution in sleep. Now it's time for you to experience. Go to purple.com/Benson. You're going to get $150 off any Purple mattress. Use the promo code Benson. Over $1,500. So you're saving like 10% right there. What are you waiting for? Get to it right now. Purple.com/Benson. Promo code Benson. Purple.com/Benson. Promo code Benson. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
One SEC athletic director told ESPN that they're not necessarily convinced that they need to do the same thing the Big Ten did, saying, but everything remains fluid and no one believes right now that we have to shorten the season like the Big Ten did. So there's not necessarily a rush in the SEC to make the same decision, but who knows? Zubin, this information changes by the hour. But the more those Power 5 conferences do what the Big Ten did, obviously that's going to put a lot of pressure on those group of 5 schools to possibly do the same thing, and financially it could hurt a lot of them.
Yeah, so she's talking about the Big Ten yesterday, said that if there's a football season, and I say it's a big if, they're only going to play conference games. So they're not going to play their out-of-conference games. So you're not going to see Michigan, Notre Dame. You're going to see just the Big Ten. Michigan's going to play all the Iowas, the Ohio States, those things. They're not playing outside of their conference. Ivy League, previous day, decided that they're not going to even think about sports until the first of the year. There are 2 metrics in this COVID thing that I think a lot of people are looking at, because we saw what's going on. I mean, the MLS is a disaster when it comes to their restart. They've had 2 teams drop out. One was kicked out and the other one dropped out. So that's been a nightmare. On the other side of things, basketball is who knows what, maybe going to happen. Like hockey, to me, oddly enough, looks like it's the one that may pull this thing off. And then you've got the NFL. And I think if college football and the NFL don't come back, because I don't think the college football's thought is their worst case scenario as far as playing was, well, we could play in the spring, right? We start up in February, March, play, late February, March, April, be done. But you can find a lot of kids don't want to do that. Not that close to potentially the draft. I don't know what their thing is. And then for the NFL, who knows? Already they're looking at, we're going to cut some of the season in some places. No preseason games, 1 preseason games. They're not quite sure. And then you have the other football side of things, which isn't talked about. But my God, if this didn't happen, you could say COVID has done all the damage and more.
Texans enjoy professional basketball. They like Major League Baseball, and they're fans of the NFL. But high school football is what many of them live for. As tens of thousands of student athletes prepare for summer training camps, the superintendent of schools in Dallas says he doesn't see how a contact sport can be played with coronavirus numbers still rising. The governing body of high school sports says it still plans to go ahead with the fall season, at least for now.
College football's big. Absolutely huge is Dallas Cowboys. But high school football is a religion. And if that didn't happen, you're going to be like, whoa. Like, that's mad. Like, I could see a scenario where everybody goes to school online and they still play high school football in Texas. I could see that scenario. It's going to be weird. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. I will tell you right now, football doesn't come back or they have to postpone it, something of that nature, the psyche, I think, and the hit that we would take would be big, big. And we're flailing right now when you look at the way some of these leagues are trying to come back. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Do love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show TV, that is on the YouTube. Go there, like, and subscribe. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
More than 8,900 new cases in the last 24 hours and 120 deaths. That is the highest number of deaths in a single day here in the state. And it's the positivity rate that you mentioned that people are really concerned about. Statewide, the positivity rate now is 18.39%. That is the highest that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. The governor held a press conference today. He touched on it. He said that, yes, it is a bit higher, but that the death rates are down. He quickly points to the fact that most of the new cases, the positive cases, are those under 45, and that the death rate among them is very, very low.
Yeah, Florida. By the way, I'm in Arizona, number one in the world right now, percentage-wise. Number one in the world. Not how many cases, percentage. If we had the same amount of people in California and Florida compared to Arizona, Arizona blows them away. We're averaging, percentage-wise, almost 30%. So for every 10 people that take a test, 3 are confirmed to have the coronavirus. Our governor came out here yesterday and he just delivered a crap show that was so spectacular and so disappointing. But like a lot of governors, they don't know what to do. Governor Abbott came out today in Texas and said, hey, next week's going to be worse. But the one thing that they talked about in that report was the death rate. And at the end of the day, that's the thing. People are going to get sick. The spread's out there. They're going to get sick. But as the death rate continues to fall. So I don't care if you have 100,000 people test positive in a day. If your death rate continues to go down, your mortality rate, that's good. Because it's about keeping people alive. It's not about stopping people from getting it, because you can't. It's everywhere. It's out there, and it spreads really easy. So when I hear people on and mostly the right argue, well, it's just kind of like the flu, except for we have treatments for the flu and a vaccine. People still die from the flu. There's no doubt in my mind, and I've talked to several doctors, including the former Surgeon General. And he says, yeah, if we didn't have vaccines, if we didn't have treatments, there's a very good chance that the flu would be more deadly than this. But we have those, and that's the difference. So when you say it's just like, yeah, it may be just like, except for the part where we have a way to combat the flu that is tried, true, and tested, meaning we've got actual treatments if you do catch the flu, and we've also got a vaccine to stop the spread of the flu, even though it still spreads, not 100%. But at the end of the day, it's about keeping the death rates down. That's the thing that matters. And those death rates, especially because it seems to be the majority of people now that are catching this, younger people under the age of 45, under the age of 40, in many cases between 35 and about 20. They're out, they're enjoying their life, they're having fun, they feel like they're bulletproof, they're living their lives. I get it. And if anybody's going to get sick, right? Like if you were to say, all right, who's going to get sick? And you have to pick somebody who's going to get sick and survive. You're like, well, how about a 22-year-old that's in really good shape? Or just a 22-year-old. But, compared to a 72-year-old. It's like if I told you today, who do you think's going to recover better from a broken hip? A 24-year-old or an 84-year-old? Oh, yeah. So that's why we need to focus more on the vulnerable and protecting them. And then, I continue to ask the question, if the masks work so effectively, and they are effective, not all of them, some of them are crap. Some people trying to make a buck, but it's better than nothing. If they do work, then we shouldn't be shutting down the way that we are. And if they don't work, then I shouldn't have to wear one, right? Oh, yeah. That's interesting. I'm throwing stuff out. And I don't mind the wearing one when they ask me at work, because I get it. I don't own this place. So they're CYAing themselves. I also know the story of a couple people, including one of my producers here in the building that I work with for my other show. And he's got a compromised immune system. And he wears his mask all the time, even when he's in the room with us. And in fact, my on-air partner on my other show, he did like a 3-day vacation, came home, and he was worried about Lloyd and said, dude, it's best that maybe you stay home for 3 or 4 days just to make sure. Because if he got sick, it could be dangerous. You don't know what that person next to you, you don't know what their situation is. We're too busy focusing on all the other crap. The politics of a virus. Remember Politics of Dancing? Who was that? The Politics of Dancing. Reflex. Boop, 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 boop. The Politics of oof. Wasn't that part of Duran Duran?
No, not at all. Not even close.
Not even close. No, they did the Reflex. It's my bad. And I know that Duran Duran, some of the guys did something else. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, Politics of Dancing. God, that was... Then we got the Politics of Virus. Jeez. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Joe Biden, he's running for president. I don't know if you guys know that. I don't know if he knows it. I'll be honest with you. Maybe somebody tells him, hey, Joe, today you're running for president. Oh, yeah. Do you think everything is new to him? It's like Groundhog Day. He's rolling out all of his new stuff that he's going to be doing, which is some of it sounds very Trumpian and some of it sounds very much utopian scariness.
I have no illusion how tough the road ahead is going to be for our country. We have an economic crisis that's left almost 18 million Americans out of work, with some of the greatest pain inflicted on small businesses and communities of color. In addition to bringing back the jobs that have been lost this year, my plan will help create at least 5 million new, good-paying jobs, as experts have looked at it, in manufacturing and innovation.
So that's part of where he's going with it. Remember, if Trump says buy Americans, put money into it, and America first, he's evil, racist, xenophobe. If Biden does it, first we have to remind him he said it, and secondly, it's a good thing.
Glad to work with the vice president in forming 6 separate task forces, some of the most knowledgeable people in the country coming together to deal with education and climate change and healthcare and the economy and criminal justice and immigration reform. And these folks, needless to say, people who represented the progressive movement had a different perspective on things than did Biden's people.
Yeah. Because I've seen some of the stuff that's out there. Ilhan Omar, Ariana Presley, and a lot of them, Rashida Tlaib. Some of that stuff in the Breathe Act and some of the things that they want to do is ridiculous. And of course, that at least if they're struggling, if Biden's people are pushing back on Bernie, that makes me go, okay, cool. But the reality is Biden is easily swayed at this point. He is. And I think he would, I don't want to say he's a puppet on a string, but he would be the first president in my memory. And we talk about Bush, it's Cheney ran this and Cheney ran that. Cheney had a huge hand in his Dr. Evil way wherever he was in some mountain somewhere going, I think he absolutely did. And I think Bush had a bigger hand. And I think as it went along, he took and wrestled back a lot more of that power. I think it'd be the opposite here. I think it would start out as something, and eventually he would lose a good portion of that, and it would be whoever's behind him would be pulling a lot more strings.
But there was serious discussion, and I think a real honest effort to come up with a compromise. And I think the compromise that they came up with, if implemented, will make Biden the most progressive president since FDR.
And the big thing is if. We're a fickle bunch in this country. We may say, Biden, you're president, and turn the Senate over to the Democrats and strengthen their House majority. And then 2 years from now, they'll have done something. And as we are the fickle bunch, we turn around and we give the Senate right back to the Republicans and even stronger. And we give the House back to the Democrats. And then what you have is just a bunch of mud. There's a possibility. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go. It's weird because we're a long way away, especially in the 24-hour news cycle, in the tweet world, in the clip culture. Every day seems like it's 28 hours instead of 24. And at the same time, it's drawing near fast. It just seems like a month or two ago, we were talking about primaries and this is the first debate. And all of a sudden now we're talking about, okay, how are they going to do the conventions? Who's going to be running mates? How's this going to shape up? How does Trump do this? How does he get back from this? And on top of that, you've got the COVID and all. It's nuts. Will Biden win? I don't know. Because let's just say you were sitting here and you know nothing about either of these two candidates, right? So you know nothing about either of these two candidates. And you watched interviews. You say, well, Trump is rough and he's gruff and he's straightforward and he seems like he's got it all together. You may not like his policies and stuff. Let's see what this Joe guy has. And you could watch him and every once in a while you're like, okay, and then he'll do this.
I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed. What I proposed is it can be done. I think we're in a position to really make it happen. And my team and your team are already working closely together to light up the path forward here. Critical laws like the PRO Act to strengthen collective bargaining. On politics like prevailing and look. Yes, I'm taking too much time, but
Producer Phil, decipher that for me. What'd he say?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. There you go. So if you're sitting there and you know nothing about these candidates and you're just watching them, you're like, maybe he sounds like he's got some okay stuff. This guy sounds like he's got some okay stuff. Some of the stuff I like, some of the stuff over here I don't like, vice versa. But something's maybe wrong with that guy. That's an issue. And I think it is an issue. And it's fair to ask the question. It's not bad. It's not evil. If you can question Trump, whether or not he's crazy, if you can question Trump, whether or not he's healthy and he's going to drop dead of a heart attack, if you can question whether or not he's senile and he's got Alzheimer's and all, it's just as easy to turn around and say, tell me right now, there isn't some issue that could at least be raised. You'd be lying to yourself. Even if you love Biden, that there are some serious questions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. The market, talking about the stock market, bond market, up, down, sideways. Guess what's going on right now? with debt in the U.S. Huge. Dollar. Precarious. It's dropped. Third of its value in 20 years. What do you need to do? You need to call Valor Gold Group. 800-202-6936. What you're going to learn is how to protect your wealth retirement from the coming potential crash of the dollar and an extremely volatile stock market. They're about not only protecting your wealth, they're about building your wealth. So you've got your nest egg, you've got your retirement, you're doing stuff, and you want to build it. How do you do that? Well, Valor Gold Group's been around. I mean, we're talking about guys who've been in the industry for 50 plus years as far as experience, and they're taking the old school ways that we used to trade. Because when I was in the industry, and they've now moved it to new school. They've combined the two to give you systematic analytics and, yeah, even at times an understanding and gut feel. That's what it's all about. Time-tested, proven strategies. They're going to show it out. Gold and silver qualify for your IRA. Call 800-202-6936. What are you going to get? A free exclusive copy of the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. It's Valor Gold Group. VALOR goldgroup.com/Chad. Valor Gold Group. Call them today. 800-202-6936. ValorGoldGroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's have some fun. Head on over to the magical world of Twitter. Kid Cudi and Eminem pay tribute to George Floyd in the collaboration. Also goes after Drew Brees because, of course, why not, right? Like, that's totally what you do. The Battle of Goya is going on. So, Goya, which, they make food, beans, and stuff of that nature. Their CEO praised Trump, so automatically you have to, to stop buying anything that has to do with that. And then in the other way, now you've got hashtag buy Goya. And I'm like, hashtag, I don't care. Just enough with this. I'm over it. It's nuts. It's just how do we get to this? Where everything is like, if you say something about something that disagrees with a certain sect of society, it's an automatic cancel. And that's a scary thing. So you got that going on. And that's, as usual, uncomfortable, right? That you would dare say something. I don't even know. I sit here and shake my head. I see it. I see it amongst the young. Can't talk to them because they freak out. Don't ever question anything that they bring as far as like, well, I don't know if it works that way because you are going to get shot down. Just want you to understand that. There are some out there that are like, yeah, totally fine. But a lot of them are. Michael Cohen trending on because he was taken into custody because he did not obey his home confinement orders, apparently. Oklahoma, if you didn't hear yesterday, Supreme Court, all the tax stuff, they ruled that half of the state is Indian land. So a large swath of Tulsa is part of that. And it's not full reservation, but what it does mean in civil and court trials is interesting. We'll touch on that a little bit later. And Pop Smoke, who was killed. They arrested 5 people in the killing of the rapper during a home invasion in Hollywood Hills. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, I think that the schools are going to prioritize keeping the classrooms open, and so the extracurricular activities, if they're going to sacrifice something, they're probably going to look to do that and try to focus the resources on keeping classes open, and to the extent that they can keep outbreaks from happening in the school, try to sand away the things that are sort of extracurricular that could potentiate outbreaks.
Dr. Scott Gottlieb, schools, coronavirus. You're going to send kids to school, let them go to school. That's what you need to do. You need to send them to school, and I'm all in favor of that. I think you can go to. Here's the thing: you got teachers' unions. It's going to be muddled across the country because you have teachers' unions are going to fight not to go to school. You can have some teachers who we're already seeing it here in Arizona. They say they're going to strike, and they're not really allowed to strike. But they said they're going to if they go back, and they're worried. It's a giant show. And at some point in time, you've got to ask yourself, how do we do this in a way? Because I find it weird, right? I'm going to throw this out there. If you're a teacher, you, to me, decide, is it worth it? Am I okay with the risk? Okay, you're okay with the risk. All right, so you're okay with the risk. Then you should be allowed to go back. If you're not okay with the risk, then we need to figure that part out. I find it weird that the person can work at McDonald's or can work at Costco or can work anywhere, Home Depot, any of that stuff, but I don't want to. Or around kids. Well, you don't think they're around human beings every single day at the grocery store? There's an inherent risk, but the risk for the children is minute. And I understand. Because parents will make the decision. For us, like when we look at Jack, if he lived out here with me during the school year at this moment in time, and the school was open, I'd send him because I'm not worried about whether or not he spreads it or can't spread it because it's basically, it would be him and I. So I'm not worried about that so much. You're not going to die from it. It's possible. Yeah, anything's possible. Again, get hit by lightning. But him at home with his mom in San Diego because of his grandmother and aunt and how much they're in his life and how much right now because they both have compromised immune system. And one of them, his aunt, had a double lung transplant 3 years ago. And the doctor basically told her, don't leave the house. Because she's had some issues already. Catches pneumonia really easy. They've already just said don't. So in that situation, I could see like, hey, you know what? I wouldn't send my kid to school in that situation because of. But if you're going to send him to school, send him. Let them do the things they do because mentally it's going to be so much better. And everybody who's listening to this who have kids who've been home for an extended period of time, which is mostly everybody who's got a kid, you realize there is the COVID-19, a little bit, too much snacky. And on the other side of stuff that has nothing to do with the physical side of it, the mental strain on top of not being able to interact, not doing extracurricular activities, not having, quote unquote, the normal day-to-day routine, there is real issues that are going on.
The pro athletic leagues have done a lot to try to create protective bubbles around their players. It's harder for the college teams to do that, although a lot of colleges now are starting to adopt regimes for testing students. A number of colleges are talking about testing the entire student population every 2 or 3 days. It's going to be harder for the public schools to do that. It's resources, it's expensive, and so local districts are going to have a hard time doing that. Unfortunately, the specter of sort of have and have-nots when it comes to the public schools, some districts that have more money, that are wealthier, might implement more stringent measures, while other districts that are harder pressed won't be able to adopt those tools.
Dr. Scott Gottlieb, kids going back to school, absolutely. And think about this, just as that rings true as far as, the haves and have-nots for testing, it also rings true for the schools where there is no real way for them to learn outside of there. They don't have the resources for computers. Some people don't have the internet at home. They may have a phone, but they don't have, it's just not set up for that. So I say I'm a big proponent of it, but parents are going to make their own decisions. They're going to absolutely make their own decisions. And they should. Just as teachers should. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. See, if it's up to my mom, every single one of the kids would be in school right now. Every one of them. And my mother's upset because, first of all, okay, producer Phil and producer Anthony, you guys are going to love this. I'll share this with you. This is great. So my little brother Spencer, who is special needs, and he's like super special needs. He's trach, G-tube. He's his seizures. He's got brain damage, cerebral palsy. I mean, he's just, you name it, just check in a wheelchair, never walk, never talk. They'll send him home real stuff like schooling, and my mother's like, this is math. Never mind. He's not going to do math. He's not. He's still trying to figure out how to move his eyes in such a way that he can kind of communicate. He's almost 15. But for the first month, you ready for this? You guys love this. For the first month, they tried to do online schooling with the kids. And my mom's all, do you know what's really interesting, Chad? I'm like, what? She goes, apparently, none of these kids have to be clothed. I go, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, in the middle of, it's like the Brady Bunch. They're trying to zoom in, and it's special needs. And it's a variant of special needs. So like my brother doesn't talk or anything, he's in a wheelchair, and you'll have another one in there that's like that. And then she goes, and then there's others who are other disabilities. But they'll take their clothes off, they'll throw things, they'll bite the computer. And I'm like, oh. She goes, yeah, so that they abandoned that quick. Good times. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. There's no wrong answer in this when it comes, there's no playbook when it comes to COVID. No, there's no like, hey, but there's enough of a history now that we can kind of look forward and figure out, okay, this hasn't worked. This has worked. This is kind of what we should be doing. This shouldn't be what we're doing. And I don't see anybody really doing any of that. Governors across the country, I think, are flailing in so many ways. And yesterday, a governor here, Doug Ducey, I watched his press conference, and I thought to myself, first of all, he didn't have a press conference for 10 days. At least the governors around the country where you see Abbott and DeSantis and Newsom, they're participating. He didn't for 10 days. And then he didn't do anything. And I'm like, man, this is absolutely a disaster. And that's where I see a lot of it. And a lot of it is just because politicians, like this is, I think, Trump's biggest frustration right now with COVID. Well, I think Trump is in a lot of ways kind of given up on it. It's like everybody else, you guys deal with it, which I applaud. Do it. Fine. Let it. But politicians, people like Trump, who's not the traditional politicians, they can't talk their way out of it. Right? There's no controlling it. There's no passing a bill, a legislation, executive order. There's none of that makes this go away. And so I think what you're seeing a lot of is a resigning of frustration by them, the resigned to realize that this isn't going in a way, this is hurting. And so some of them, it's a Hail Mary, and it's sad. It's sad to watch. It is. A lot of people say, what would you do? I said, well, you know what? If I'm a governor, and depending what kind of governor you are you a politician governor? Are you a governor that is a governor of the state and you're a politician, but you're a business person first, and you've got that aspect, and that's a lot of what you focus on, because there's several different types of politicians. I'm bringing in outside experts, right? Because great CEOs and people do this. You bring in outside experts, people that get it, who understand it. You help build a true strength of what would be like a boardroom, a war room. You allow them to do what they do. Make sure that they're out and about talking about stuff, formulating, planning things, doing the best they possibly can. And on the other side of things, if you're the business type who's looking at businesses struggling, facing a second shutdown or a full-time shutdown forever, you're out there doing what you can with them. But what's working is nothing because they don't have a plan. It's hit and hope. It's hit and hope. And I don't know if you're aware of this. That usually doesn't go very well. Arizona's COVID strategy. It's got a picture of Doug Ducey. Funny meme. It says blanket. Let's see what happens. I think it's not just him. A lot of politicians. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycon. I actually just ordered a couple more. E25, 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass. It's the design. It's just awesome. And I just love it because I do work out a lot. I do a lot of things and video conference calls and a lot of other stuff that I do. And I love having the opportunity to not have dangling wires or stems. And it's great. Goes right in your ear, fits there, so comfortable, nice noise isolating fit. So when you're watching something, when you're listening to something, when you're having a conversation, you hear that and the other stuff is just drowned out. You don't have to worry about that. And I love that. Normally you'd pay $150, $200, $300 for something like this. And I've seen it. Like Jack was showing me last night, because what do the kids have? And I'm like, $240 for those? Really? He goes, yeah, they're not as good, but because it's about style. I said, these styles. I said, Snoop Dogg loves these. Cardi B loves these. This is what it's at. And he goes, I know. This is where it's at. Raycons. Get yours today. Well under $100. Save 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Like parades, things that here in the city can mean not just thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. It's just not time for that now. The kinds of gatherings we're used to, the parades, the fairs, we just can't have that while we're focusing on health right now.
That right there was New York Mayor Bill the Boob de Blasio. That's being kind. Did you see him out there in front of Trump's home painting Black Lives Matter? Could you think about this? What if you had a Democrat governor and you had a mayor that was Republican and he went to the Democrat governor's house and in front of it he said, hey, we're going to paint MAGA in front of it. So you can't have parades, fairs, gatherings. What about protest?
What about protests? If people want to march down Fifth Avenue, are they going to be allowed to do so?
Look, Wolf, this is always an area of real sensitivity. If you're just talking about health, we would always say, hey, folks, stay home if you can. But we understand at this moment in history, people are talking about the need for historic changes in New York City, recognizing the power and the meaning of the message Black Lives Matter, which we did in front of Trump Tower. This is a historic moment of change. We have to respect that.
It's like Trump had a rally. Everybody there got coronavirus. Hey, 1 million people protested over several weeks on a nightly basis. 50,000 here, 5,000 there, 2,500 here. But every single night there was, 50, 100, 200,000 people on the streets nationwide. Nobody caught it. Why? Well, because the coronavirus understands social justice. You're just like, I can't believe anything you guys say. I can't. You guys are full of crap. And then the people are like, well, you got to understand when you're outside. I get the outside thing. You're not going to get an argument from me. But you can't tell me that over 14 days, and in some cases, in some places, longer, and then not to mention the Chop, not to mention But they were killing people just straight there. All of the pulling down statues and all of that stuff. You can't tell me that there wasn't some spread. Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. So I can go out, according to some governors, and protest something. What if I'm protesting the insane cancel culture and we get 1 million people? Well, you can't do that. It's not very smart. What if I'm protesting with Black Lives Matter? Absolutely. So you can go out for that, but I can't go to the beach? This is what drives people crazy. I'm all for protesting. You didn't hear me one time say don't protest. Absolutely. You're right. The beauty of our country, it's your right. Take advantage of it. And I'm sure you understand there's a risk that comes with that. So do it. Knock yourself out. But then you say, well, you shouldn't really have a fair, or you shouldn't go to the beach. And that's so stupid. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us and text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. So I find this to be very interesting. Producer Anthony sends me this. And across the country, they've lightened the rules up in so many ways when it comes to just like, for instance, shoplifting. Just walking in place. This guy goes into a convenience store, right? And just takes a bunch of stuff. Then on his way out, he just drops trow as if to say, blank you on top of it.
Caught some dude stealing in our store. Watch this right here. He straight up pulls his out, flashes us his ass. See, here's me down there. Then this dude comes in. He says, excuse me, sir. Hey, whap, punches him in the face. He walks in. He says, yo, can I shop now? I'm like, yeah, you can, man. Hell yeah. Dude's on the ground bleeding.
So it is hilarious. The guy totally does this because police, they're not responding to this stuff. They're not in places. They're just, it's no big deal. They've been told in certain big cities, it's petty crime. Don't worry about it. We don't really want you to do anything. So he's standing right there like a convenience store, and he just drops trow, and he's just doing all like, ha, ha, ha. And this dude walks in behind and just lays him out. And then he's like, can I shop? I'm like, yep. So awesome. We'll throw it up on the old Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That's the old YouTube. We're going to start doing more and more there. It's just crazy. We're planning to do a lot more, and then the COVID hit, and it's put things off by getting people in the studio to do stuff, and that's the frustrating thing. But, hey, we're all going through it, right? We're in it together. We're just not together in it, if you know what I mean. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In some of the states, the governors or the mayors essentially jumped over the guidelines and the checkpoints and opened up a little bit too soon.
Absolutely. As far as the guidelines, if you're going to follow the guidelines. And all, you can say, yes, we're going to follow these guidelines. Remember the guidelines? Like, this is what's amazing. The CDC and Fauci and Birx and Trump and all of them and their task force, and they come out and they lay this whole thing out, right? This is the way this is going to go. It's going to be phase 1. It's going to be phase 2. And this is going to be phase 3. And this is the way it's going to go. And if you do this, this, and this based on this metrics, but you come up with your own metrics, whatever fits, whatever it is, you can go into phase 1. And then a lot of states are like, we're already in phase 1. And the minute you got like, we're going to open restaurants, people are like, well, let's get life back to normal. And away it went. It's never about getting to zero. when it comes to infections. It's about taking pressure off the medical establishment and treating people with COVID. Chances of you getting this and dying from it is slim, slim, slim. You may get it, but if you're a healthy person under the age of 70, now they've moved the metrics up to 70, it's about as deadly as the flu. That's the reality of it. But the spread is much greater. And with the flu, we have treatments and we have this crazy thing called a vaccine. Doesn't always work, but 1 out of 2 is better than nothing. And if you have the treatment, you see why the numbers of the flu don't look like this. Did some open too soon? I don't even think it was the opening too soon, because quite frankly, and as bad as a job as my governor here has done, Doug Ducey, and here's the thing. Up until this point, as a governor, in the 3 years I've been here, I would have given him an A. Based on this, he's down to a D, period. Because he's floundered a lot of different things. But who hasn't? Remember Cuomo, talk of the town, this guy should be president. And they say, here's the deal with the spotlight. Eventually it starts shining really, really bright. And what looks like this amazing thing, you come to find out that, oh, by the way, he was telling them, oh, I know Granny Gums has COVID, and she's in an assisted living facility. Just put her back. Yeah, he floundered too. He had his issues. DeSantis, Newsom. I mean, I look at, like, a perfect comparison. California was really stringent in their shutdown. Arizona really wasn't. They're both kind of in the same position right now. Rising positive test. I don't think it would have mattered if you opened up or kept it open. I think this was somewhat of an inevitability, because until you get a vaccine, until you get herd immunity, until you get treatments, until you get whatever it is that we need to get, it's not going anywhere. And I've said from day one, hiding under the bed doesn't make the monster go away. When you come out, the monster's still there. Going inside for months. Think about this for a second. If we were today to say we had been inside and we'd sheltered in place up until now, and we came out today, would anything be different in, say, a month? Probably not. Because as long as it's still out there, eventually it's going to have the opportunity to spread. So the opening too soon, opening not, I think everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And that's the beauty of our country, is we've got 50 different little countries that are doing their own thing because they've got their own little presidents, their own fiefdom. But it's also somewhat of a debacle because you've also got a lot of people that have zero plans, and they're politicians, and they can't do the one thing that they know they usually can do, which is talk their way out of it, politic it away, pass bills, lobby it, and or executive order it. So I see a lot of people who are over trying, meaning they're trying to do everything all at once. We're going to stay open. We're going to close down. Everybody's got to wear a mask, but you don't have to wear a mask. You've got to wash your hands while you're washing your hands. You have to wear a visor. Everything can be open, half capacity, full capacity. Can't dance, can't go outside, but go ahead and do those things. And then you have other people who are like, we'll see what happens. It's frustrating. It's not going anywhere, though. Just recognize this is where we are at this moment in time. And as frustrated as a lot of people are, and there's a ton of people that are frustrated because they're looking at potential second shutdowns, and I don't know what that does to a lot of small businesses nationwide, but most small business owners I've talked to told me from the start, we'll probably be able to survive through this one. We won't or can't survive through another one. And that's important. Won't being, yeah, I could survive, but I'm not going to, because I'm just going to shut it down. Because at this point, I don't know what's going to happen even after they open it again. And can't survive is, no, we can't do this again, because we're just not going to have the money, the capital. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. So this is Don Lemon. You know, we talk about politics and race and all of this stuff and the cancel culture. And I want you guys to take a listen to this. This is Don Lemon responding to something that in 2013, Bill O'Reilly talked about when it came to inner city, in particular the African American community, and what was going on there, about the breakdown of the home and all of this stuff. And I found this to be really interesting because it's been brought up again of look where he is now, look who he is now. But if you listen to him, you would say, who's that conservative guy talking about the African American community? This is, again, this Don Lemon. He's really woke now. Back then, nobody had woken him up at all, apparently.
Because black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5, pull up your pants. Number 4 now is the N-word. Now number 3, respect where you live.
That's huge. Pull up your pants, right? It's big. The N-word. And we've talked about that here on numerous occasions. And respect where you live. Okay. This is 2013. This isn't last week, because he wouldn't do this. And he's woke now. And he's also probably fear for his cancel culture life.
Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering.
Okay. So those are some of the things.
Now, it's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate.
All right. These are simple things for everybody, by the way, to learn. Right? These are just simple things. Then he hits on some bigger stuff, and the biggest stuff of all that I continue to say is the biggest issue.
That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison. And the cycle continues. So please, black folks, pay close attention to the hip-hop and rap culture that glorifies everything I just mentioned. Thug and reprehensible behavior. A culture that is making a lot of people rich, just not you.
Not having a father in the home is huge. My dad died when I was 16 years old. I had 16 years with him. My sister only had 6. And in between, there was times where he was completely in and out. Some ordered by the court, others just because he was having so many issues. I saw my dad, though, in a lot of good times as well as the bad times. And he was there in a lot of ways, and in other ways he wasn't there. But I got a lot from him. My mother, to this day, says it. If your dad would have lived, your sister would have never been in the situation she was in. It matters. Can't talk about it, right? Because it's can't, but it matters. Not having a baby. First thing I tell my interns, don't get pregnant or don't get somebody pregnant. It's half the battle. That's it. Showing up in life, not getting somebody pregnant, not getting pregnant is massive. And I've been told, you shouldn't say that to them. Wait, I'm supposed to be mentoring them and you don't want me to tell them the truth about stuff? It's nuts. It is. Little things you would think, I watched a documentary a couple weeks ago. It's an older documentary, and it had this is what's insane. It had 3 generations in the same prison, and the younger one was going there. His dad, I think, was there for murder, or his grandpa was for murder. His dad had done something else. This is the first time he'd seen his dad or his grandpa that wasn't in a situation where it was like through the glass or in a room. Not a winning formula. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Those things matter. It does. Little things. Finish high school. Matters. Not getting somebody pregnant or getting pregnant matters. And having a father figure, or at least you'd love to have a father or father figure and a mentor inside of life, those things matter. But if you can do a couple of those, you're giving yourself a better opportunity and chance at life. Can't say that, though, in a lot of places anymore. Even in certain white communities. Why? Because, you're hammering the single mom. Shut up. My goodness. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Sleep. You want to sleep easy? Yeah, you do. Purple. I slept easy last night. I can't even remember falling asleep. Went in the bed. Way I went. My new purple mattress came. Epic. I've had it for like 4 or 5 days, and it's just otherworldly. They have taken technology and fused it with the sleep world, and what you get is their purple grid. That's their secret. It's for every body. It adapts to your body, your natural shape, your sleep style. 2,800 open channels of naturally temperatured neutral gel. So you're not going to sleep too hot. You're not going to sleep too cold. I put it to the test. Soft where you want it, firm where you need it. 100-night trial. It's risk-free trial. Think about that. It's a 100-night risk-free trial. They're putting their money where their mouth is. You'll know after you sit on it and just lay down just to check it out before you can put the sheets on. Yeah, I'm not sending this thing back. Yeah, big time. Experience the next evolution of sleep. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use promo code Benson. For a limited time, $150 off any Purple mattress order of $1,500 or more. That's purple.com/Benson. Promo code Benson. $150 off any mattress order of $1,500 or more. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Attorney General Barr reiterated that the Justice Department would like to speak to Prince Andrew, who acknowledges knowing Epstein and Maxwell but denies any wrongdoing. Maxwell is accused of facilitating Epstein's sex crimes by helping him recruit, groom, and ultimately abuse 3 unnamed teenage victims between 1994 and 1997.
Yeah, they got her. Apparently, she may have video of Prince Andrew. It's crazy. Now, here's the real question. What else does she know? Because she knows she's the body buried kind of person that knows everything. So he's gone mysteriously. What's the over-under on her making it anywhere? As far as to speak to prosecutors, to open up, to tell where everything is, who's involved, who was there, what's overblown, what's not overblown, right? Like, what's, like, did Trump really, because the left's like Trump, 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 the right's like Clinton, Clinton, Clinton. And where's Hillary? She's probably tunneling her way into wherever they're at.
The extra measures and concern around Maxwell comes in part because Epstein killed himself while in a federal jail in Manhattan on sex trafficking charges, sparking a slew of conspiracy theories.
I'm sorry. Look, for me, I look at like the deep state. Oh, it's deep state, Supreme Court, deep state. That was Lou Dobbs yesterday, those kind of things. Look, by the way, if you think the deep state only works one way, are there people that do their own thing inside of stuff and would love to manipulate more? Yes. A lot of safety measures now. It's much easier to do when there was only like 13 colonies that became states and you only had a few people in government to be deep. It's a little tougher now. Much tougher to do in the intelligence side and do stuff like that. So, yeah, there are people out there that do certain things, but the way that, the right and left spins it. But when it comes to something like this, don't tell me that people, because it's not just the Clintons. We joke about the Clintons. There are other people out there, like the Royals, that don't want to see Prince Andrew have to sit there and go, "Ooh, I've never met." Well, I did know him, and I don't, but this island that was overblown. No, this is some serious stuff. But the over/under, God, I don't know. Does she make it to any kind of trial, plea bargain? You don't know. And if she commits suicide, what then? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We've got her on suicide watch, and by that we mean she's in a bulletproof vest and we're protecting her just in case. She gets a gun and shoots herself in prison? Well, that'll be interesting. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A new ABC News Ipsos poll out this morning has numbers headed in the wrong direction for the president when it comes to the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. About 2/3 of Americans disapprove of how he's handling the crisis. And notably, there's plunging support from independents. Trump's approval rating amongst independents was at 26% in the survey, a sharp drop from 40% in mid-June, the last time this question was asked. Trump's disapproval amongst independents has risen to 73%, up from 59% in the June poll.
Up, down, sideways. Where are we going to be? I couldn't tell you. I don't think anybody really knows when it comes to where this election's going, because the coronavirus is going to be a big factor. And if you are study at all, and a lot of people have gone back and tried to look at the way that the Spanish flu went, but the first wave, really bad. Second wave was the worst. Third wave was bad, but not as bad as the other two. But mysteriously, it just disappeared. Within a 4-week period between mid-March and mid-April, it went from hospitals full to a lot of people being sick to it vanished completely and nobody was sick anymore and getting sick. No, nobody knows why. They thought maybe herd immunity because it was so bad that you did build up an immunity if you survived it. But they really could never tell you what it was. We're not in that situation when it comes to this, but you've got this. You've got race relations right now, as we all know. You have got the economy, which I've always said the best and worst thing that could happen to Trump as far as his friend and opportunity would have been the economy. I don't think we're having a conversation of who wins in November if all things were the way they were this time last year, even with chaos, even with the race relations, it's that. And I don't think we'd be having this conversation. I think Trump would be walking away with it. And I've always said, if things were normal and the economy went to hell in a handbasket, I think Trump would be out. Because at the end of the day, there's still a majority of Americans that the economy and because so much is tied to your life, right? If you're doing well, you don't want to break the cycle of doing well, and you don't want to, even with the chaos and the craziness. But this is something none of us accounted for. And you can't look at Trump and say, well, because people will say, look, Trump's great economy's gone to hell now. I'm like, are you being serious? Yeah, his economy's gone to hell. I mean, you're the same person who's saying we need to shut everything down and stay in shelter in place. saying the economy's going to hell and it's all Trump's fault. You can't have it both ways. A lot of people would like to, right? But between now and November, huge opportunities for both of them to really make a mark. And I think they're going to have more missteps than marks. And then Kanye slides in and wins it all. I was reading some of the stuff that he is very, it's interesting. Some of the stuff I'm like, I can totally get behind that. And some of it's like, I'm a little worried for Kanye. Some you're like, absolutely. Others, But Trump has work to do. And for those of you who think it's going to be a cakewalk and the polls don't matter, because look at 2016, things change. They've learned from that. You think they don't realize that? And by the way that things are now, remember, it was kind of a dead heat between them. While she was leading in most polls, it wasn't she was leading 49-31 or 50, it wasn't that. The plus minus of even 3 or 4 or 5%, Biden still has the lead. And like I say, a lot will change. And he has a ton of work to do, Biden as well.
Listen, the president wants to talk about all the accomplishments he's done in his first term and how he's made people's lives better. It answers the age-old question, are you better off now than you were before? And the answer undoubtedly is yes, and that strikes true in New Hampshire and across this country.
But with the pandemic, now the growth is not there. The unemployment's still 11%. So you can't really say you're better off than you were 3 years ago because of, at the very least, the pandemic. So you can't really say that, right?
No, absolutely. Of course you can say that.
No, you can't say that. But you can't blame Trump for a pandemic, the way he's handled it. But I think we're going to realize in the end, even years from now, that it wouldn't have mattered what we had done, that this thing was going to take the course that it's taken. And Fauci and people that, it's funny, people I look at, because I like to see what are other medical directors around the globe doing? How are they handling it? The NHS director and the health secretary in Britain. How are the Swedes handle it compared to the Germans and what kind of job they've done? Look at Singapore and Vietnam and look at the way they've handled stuff. But I think at the end of the day, everybody's kind of said the same thing. This thing's going to run its course and we're all going to kind of end up in the same position until we get a vaccine and a treatment for it. This is what we have. But you can't say, we're all in a better position. No, but I can't also blame him for it. But we're not in a better. Is everybody better? I mean, there are some. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Where I was 4 years ago, which is pretty good. Am I in a better position? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But is that Trump? No. And I'm going to throw this out there. Because I love talking about all kinds of crap. I can be honest with you. Trump bores me. All the chaos bores me. And I like talking about all kinds of fun stuff on top of other issues. Because I think that's what we should be doing. I think that's the way real world works, right? You go hang out with your friends, you'll spend 5 hours talking politics about one thing. And there are some people out there, the extremes, that do that. And I like talking about all kinds of stuff. We talk about sports here. We talk about entertainment here. We talk about, and by the way, the Johnny Depp stuff, it gets stranger and better every single day. And the text messages between him and actor Paul Beatty are amazing. Like I said, if you want to take your mind off stuff, just go read some of it. It is spectacular. But I will make an argument here that in where I want to go with radio and what I want to do, Trump slowed the growth at times of my show because there was a Trump bump from a lot of other people that, quite frankly, become stale. There's a lot of hosts out there. Trump it's the same thing with TV, the CNNs, the MSNBCs. Let me tell you something. Trump gave you something. You didn't become more interesting or more talented. What you cover did. That's the reality of that. But when it comes to the voting side of things, here's something for you. I look at this and Trump's people are out spinning stuff all day long, and some of it is just crap.
Because listen, this global pandemic hit all of us, not just here in this country, but across the world. This president took a leadership role. This president saw the numbers, 2.2 million people projected dead in America. So as of right now, this president's policies, this president's decisions, his leadership has saved almost 2 million lives in this country. I put that up against anybody. And as this economy begins to rebound, this economy is roaring back. Listen, this president rebuilt this economy once. He will rebuild it again.
Now, if you ask me, who do I trust to rebuild the economy? Trump, well over Biden. Well over Biden. It's not even close. If you're saying who do I think is going to help the economy along in a much faster, better way once we're through all this, no doubt, in my mind. I don't pick everything based on the economy. Just don't. But that's because I also think at the end of the day, what happens in your state, what happens in your city, and politics wise, is all local. That's, you remember, politics it is. Has more impact on you in your business and stuff. But if you were to ask me who would I trust more with the economy, Trump, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. But we're a long way away. And, you go and look. And yesterday, I listened to a lot of what Biden in his speech, and I'm like, my God, it sounds just like Trump. And it's funny because when Trump comes out and says America first, this, that, and the other, guess what? He's a xenophobe. He's a racist. When Biden does it, they're like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Trump even said something.
He plagiarized from me, but he can never pull it off. He likes plagiarizing.
He likes plagiarizing. Oh, my goodness. What's he going to do?
He's raising everybody's taxes. He's also putting tremendous amounts of regulations back on. And those two things are two primary reasons that I created the greatest economy we've ever had. And now we're creating it again.
But it's going to be a long slog. And the longer we're inside, the tougher it's going to be. And that's why, even though the economy's gone to hell, it can be Trump's friend. Because at the end of the day, if it's, and think about what we're going to know between now and then, whether we have a vaccine, whether we have therapeutic treatments that work, whether it just disappears or it goes through the roof, whatever it may be, that's going to play onto this. But the economy will. And people are going to ask themselves inside that voting booth, the independents, can I deal with the chaos? Because for a lot of people, they're over the chaos. Because no matter how beautiful somebody is, and you may give them chance after chance, it gets to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And that's what they're going to say to themselves. Do you want another 4 more years of this? And it's not just that. Do you want another 4 more years of the media beating up on him beating up on the media? 4 more years of Russia. It's the taxes. And then all of a sudden, it's going to be all of the financials. And we're going to go back well before that. And then if there's nothing there, we've still got the bounty gate that's going to be out there that we've always got in our back pocket. I mean, do I want 4 more years of more books, more? And people are going to ask themselves that. But they're also going to say to themselves, Biden gets in there. He's got some issues. They're talking about raising taxes. They're talking about some of this insanity in some of these things they want to do. Green New Deal. People coming here illegally. They're allowed to vote in state and local elections. They want to defund the police. They want to, I don't know if I'm all about that. And the way that they're talking about jumpstarting the economy basically doesn't feel like it. Sounds like you're standing in a bucket trying to pull yourself up. So chaos and craziness one way or another. That's our choices. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at me, Raycon's best earbuds around. The best earbuds around. Raycon's. Love them. Amazing. 6 hours talk time. Seamless Bluetooth pairing. The E25s are it. I just ordered some pairs for myself and young Jack Meister, because he wants to look cool. But he also doesn't want to be seen as if he's looking cool, if that makes sense. Because they don't have wires or stems. And they're incredible. You're going to love them. You're going to absolutely love them. Normally, you'd pay $200, $250. I was looking last night. We were looking at the ones with the little white stems. You know what I'm talking about. And the Pros were $239 or something. I thought, my Raycons are 10 times better because I've had both. And guess what? These cost well under $100, and I'm going to save you more money. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15% on top of that. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
If you plan on going to a theme park any place in the world and you decide to go on a thrilling ride or take in a haunted attraction, it might be normal for you to let out a gasp or a loud scream. But now, post-2020 in Japan, the newest rule is no screaming on rides. This means that if you're coming to Japan, you better be quiet. This is the latest scheme in Japan in order to curb the corona situation.
So that's the latest scheme. They said they want you to, scream on the inside. What was it? Remember, what was it? Trading Places? Eddie Murphy, he was a karate man. He bruises on the inside. That's kind of what they want you to do. Scream on the inside.
No screaming on roller coasters. Instead, they suggest that people, and I am serious, quote, scream in your heart. And they even released a video of two executives demonstrating how it's done. Screaming in their hearts. And they launched a social media campaign called Keep a Serious Face to try to get people to play along.
Good luck with that. Because it's the natural reaction, right? It's just natural. Some people will do it. Well, it's like a try not to, like the things they do on TikTok and Instagram and a lot of these other things. It was try not to laugh, try not to cringe, try not to cry, try not to scream. But for some, it'll be natural. It's silly. It's crazy. But I wonder if we look up in like 3 or 4 years, because we're going to look back and we're going to go, all right, how did we handle this? Where did we have our missteps? What did we get right? Because I think we got some stuff right. I'm sure we got a lot of things wrong. And it's not just us, globally, when it comes to this pandemic. And we're going to look back and go, do you remember how stupid it was when they told you not to scream on the roller coaster? Or that, that masks work or masks didn't work, or, wash your hands for 20 seconds when it should have been, 10 seconds and anything more than that was ridiculous, or don't wear contacts, or we're going to look back and I think we're going to find some of this stuff silly. And we'll also say, wow, that we were good there. We were smart. We were smart. So this weekend, you're going to sit around streaming, because this is what our governor, I don't know if you guys, producer Phil and Anthony saw this. So our governor Ducey out here in Arizona, where I'm located, came and gave the world's worst press conference yesterday. They found him. They finally located him. We thought he was abducted. 10 days. Nobody had heard from him. Number one, as far as cases percentage-wise, in the globe. The globe. In the middle of it, he's telling everybody, the best thing you guys can do is just Netflix and relax. Stay home. Just Netflix and chill. That was his remedy for this. Well, if you're going to be streaming, there's some new stuff.
Another busy streaming weekend with Tom Hanks in the mix. His World War II drama Greyhound debuts today on Apple TV+. Also streaming, it's the dark comedy Palm Springs, starring Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti. In Palm Springs, Samberg and Milioti are stuck in a time loop, similar to the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day.
Certainly, like right now, we all know what it feels like to wake up the same day and be like, this again.
Palm Springs is out today on Hulu and also playing at several drive-in movie theaters across the country. And Charlize Theron leads the cast of The Old Guard on Netflix, and the comic book adaptation about a group of immortal mercenaries.
Yeah, the Greyhound movie is very interesting. Tom Hanks is very upset about it. It's based on a true story. Ernest Krauss, an American coxswain serving in the U.S. Navy during the Spanish-American War. He received the Medal of Honor for bravery, and it's very deep, very personal, very interesting. But Hanks is very upset over the fact that it's not going to be released in the theaters. So, sucks. I really want to see it. Looks great. You have a blessed, wonderful, amazing weekend. Be kind to each other. Stop fighting. Remember, we're in this together, so that means we should be together in this. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.